Hello everybody, thank you so much for being here today with me. I really appreciate your time. In today's video, I'll be talking about the 5 top countries where I set up companies for my clients. Most of my clients are online business owners and they run their whole business operations from their laptops. Also, most of my clients have decided to leave their home countries behind and have established a new home base somewhere outside of their old home countries, or some of them even live a digital nomad sort of lifestyle. So before I begin, I want to say that these recommendations or my 5 top countries where I set up my clients' companies don't necessarily mean that this is where you should set up your company. Obviously, it really depends on your individual circumstances. It depends on the business that you're operating. It will make a difference whether it's simply online coaching or online consulting, or whether it's online courses, e-commerce, Amazon FBAs. So it really depends on your individual circumstances. There's no one solution that fits everyone. I wish there was, would make my life much easier, but also very boring. Anyway, I hope you get the gist. I'll make these recommendations with the caveat that maybe it doesn't apply to you, maybe it doesn't apply to your business model, maybe it doesn't even make economic sense for you to set it up in one of those countries that I'm about to recommend. Also, I made a reel on Instagram about this, which is where I got the idea from, and I got so many comments and questions, which I'll try to answer in here. This is simply a brief overview because I wanted to give you a little bit more background than what I was able to give within those 15 seconds of the reel. I'm not going to dive really deep into, setup costs and annual costs and anything like that. It's just a simple brief overview so that you get an idea why I recommend those 5 countries. Now let's dive into it. Whew, that was really long. All right, my first suggestion is Bulgaria. The reason why I recommend Bulgaria is because it's within the European Union and it's pretty straightforward in tax terms, meaning that they've got a flat tax rate, which makes everyone's lives easier. The flat tax rate is at 10%. There's also a dividend tax rate, which is at 5%. That is for corporate income taxes. So meaning if you have $100,000 income, you'll get taxed on 10%, which leaves you with $90,000 within the business. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Everyone loves it. It's straight up to set it up, and yeah, it just keeps life a little bit easier compared to other countries that have much more complicated systems, that have progressive tax rates or anything like that. Second country that I mentioned was the USA. Now, a lot of people might be surprised to hear about this one. In actual fact, the USA can be quite of a tax haven to foreigners. Again, I repeat, this one will only work if you're a foreigner that sets up a business in the USA but doesn't have actually any operations within the USA. The structure that works here the best is a USA LLC, which is a pass-through entity. That means, as it says, whatever the entity makes will pass through to you on an individual personal level and will get taxed on your personal income tax rate. So stick around, hear me out. If you live in a high taxing country, such as in Nordic countries in Europe, then this setup doesn't make any sense whatsoever to you, because they have really high personal income tax rates, which means what the entity in the US would make would eventually pass through to you and be taxed at a very high tax rate. However, if you live in a country with really low tax rates, even potentially in a tax haven or something like that, then you end up paying 0 taxes on whatever the US entity makes, because again, it passes through to you on an individual level and you choose pay personal income tax rates on that income. So, pretty good solution, isn't it? The third country I recommended was in Singapore. that is because I've got quite a few clients that have business operations around the Asian continent, and for that purposes, Singapore seems just to be one of the best countries to set up a business in. Also, even though they have on paper a corporate tax rate of about 17%, in reality, the first 3 years of a company setup will be almost tax exempt. Like, companies will be able to run their companies at almost a 0% tax rate. I believe the first 100,000 income, of that you can exempt 75%, and on the second a lot of 100,000 income you can exempt 50% of that. So yeah, pretty great solution. Plus, Singapore has one of the best reputations around the world of being a great business hub, economic hub, especially within the Asian region. The fourth place I recommended was the UAE. Now, the UAE, as many might already know, is pretty much sort of a tax haven. There's 0% tax on corporate income, and that especially goes for whatever company you set up in free zones. There are many free zones in the UAE. You might need to get some advice on which free zone you want to establish in. They really work with today's time, meaning that there's free zones for every possible company, even online business that's out there. There's a free zone for Instagrammers, there's a free zone for crypto businesses, there's a free zone for e-commerce businesses. So there's many free zones around. So you want to maybe get some advice on which free zone works for you. Obviously, what you don't have to pay corporate tax rates, but instead you have to pay quite a high setup cost fee. The last country that I recommended was the UK. Again, the UK in the past used to be a very good place where to set up companies. It used to be within the EU. I know that's not that much longer gonna be the case, but just the reputation of the UK, kind of similar to Singapore in Asia, is the UK is just a great place for businesses, finances, and anything like that. Good economic system, good banking system, and all of that. And for foreigners, it's really easily to establish a fully foreign-owned company within the UK, which is very attractive for people who live outside of the UK, as well as people who live in the UK. And the corporate tax rates is still, I believe, at 19%, even though they were trying to put it down at 17%. So yeah, the push, the trend more so, is going towards lower corporate tax rates within the UK. Still don't know what the implications of Brexit are gonna be, but that's what I know so far. Anyway, those are the top 5 countries that I prefer setting up companies for my clients. That is not to say that I don't set up companies anywhere else. The truth is that I do set up companies all around the world, from South America to other places in Asia to especially other places in Europe as well. But those 5 countries just keep coming up a lot, and people seem to really like it. It's easy to set it up, it's easy to run the companies, and it's simply online business friendly as well. So, as I said before, please take this with a caveat. There's not one solution that fits everyone. It really depends on your individual circumstances. It depends on what your business operations are like. It depends on your business structures, where your clients are located, business industry standards as well. Is anyone going to look at you funny if you've got set up something in Bulgaria, but really you're running everything from Australia? Then as well, there's other compliance rules that come into play, such as CFC rules, permanent establishments, which goes back to the most fundamental pillar in your whole tax strategy, which is your tax residency. Wherever your home base is, wherever you've got your tax residency set up, will really limit you in terms of where you can set up your online business. So make sure you figure that part out first before you do the online business setup. I really hope this has helped you guys, and if you think anyone else could profit from this knowledge, please share and like. Really appreciate your time again. Hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next video.